Listen, man, there have been some times throughout my Bulls fandom where I've come close to hitting my limit. Like, I'm old enough to remember the 90s dynasty. I was a kid, but still old enough to remember it anyway. I definitely reached those points during the post-dynasty era where the Bulls were historically bad. We're talking some of the worst seasons in franchise history where they were winning like 15, 16 games in a season. Then, of course, more recently, I definitely hit my limit during the Hoiberg and Jim Boylan eras after they traded away Jimmy Butler. And there were definitely times of the last couple of seasons with DeMar and Zach where I was just very much over this team, but it's never really gotten to the point where I'm like, that's it. I'm not watching anymore. I'm not watching this team. I'm not wasting my time. I'm getting pretty damn close to that point now. I really am. And I know some of the comments will say, you don't mean that. You've said stuff like this before. You're going to keep coming back. And yeah, maybe. But I can honestly say this is the first time where I'm just like, I don't know that I can do this all season long. Like, sure, I can passively follow this team, check in and see how things are going, see if anything has changed, be a casual fan, so to speak. But when it comes to talking about this team, continuing to make content, I don't know that I can keep doing this all season if we continue to see the same kind of performances we've been seeing. Like, it's one thing to go through a slump. This is much, much more than that. And even though there were still no excuses for how poorly this team played during that 7-game losing stretch, there was still they're really shorthanded and just cannot get whole as a team. That excuse, if it ever was one, is out the window now. The guys are all healthy. Only guy that didn't play, the only guy that wasn't in the lineup tonight was Ayo. And you lost to a 4-win Pelicans team at home, a game where you were behind for most of it. A team that now has 5 wins in the season, and 2 of them are now against you. And look, it would be one thing if this team was bad, but they were fun bad, like we talked about last season. It would be one thing if they were bad, but still were playing their tails off and playing with energy and showing some semblance of progress from game to game. Then okay, I can get behind that. But that's not what this team is. You're talking about a team that was that to start the season, was actually good on top of it. Like, they were fun and good and actually winning games, to now being one of the worst teams in the league. That's not an exaggeration, by the way. And the complete opposite of fun, because half the time, and I know I keep swearing on here and I don't like doing that because I'm sure some kids are probably watching, but half the time they don't even look like they give a shit. And if they don't give a you know what, then why should I? Why should I as a fan continue to use my limited free time watching this team? Like, that's the other thing, and I don't mean to get all personal here, but things in my life are much different than what it was during the down years before where I reached my limit with this team. I've got a wife and 2 daughters now. Anybody who's a parent knows when you have young kids, your free time is close to nothing. I have a full-time job, I have other after-school activity commitments for the kids, and it's gotten to the point where the last thing I want to do now is watch this team play like they have been and then talk about the team. So yes, I really do mean it when I say I don't know if I can keep doing this all season. It's not that I'm lazy or don't want to put in the hard work to keep this channel going. I've just got other priorities in my life that take precedent. And I'm not going to put those priorities to the wayside if this team is going to play like this, because at some point I'm just going to be like, this isn't worth it to me. And apologies for bringing my personal life into this. I know most of you probably don't care, but I'm just saying it's not out of the realm of possibility where I just say, F it, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. Anyway, about this game, I mean, kind of goes back to what I've been saying the last few games. What else is there to say? I mean, you talk about a pretty unconvincing win against the Hornets, who were shorthanded and without some of their better offensive players, to barely coming away with the win to snap a 7-game skid, to then coming home and losing to the Pelicans and just completely falling apart in the fourth quarter. I mean, they fell apart in the third, where they allowed the Pelicans to get up by as many as 13 points, then went on a run, very similar to what we saw in Charlotte, to close the gap and be down only by 1 point at the end of the third. But there was just no fight in these guys in the fourth quarter. I mean, I take that back. There was some of it. Like, I will admit there was more effort at times anyway. You did see guys, fighting for loose balls, better job at grabbing offensive rebounds for second chance opportunities. There did seem to be somewhat more urgency than we saw in the 7-game losing streak. But the guys, once again, were just completely lost on defense in the final stretch of the game. Were absolutely cold on offense as well. Horrible shooting, where they shot 27% from 3, couldn't even finish well in the paint. The Pelicans shot horribly from 3 as well, but the Bulls allowed 60 points in the paint in this game. They let a rookie, Jeremiah Fears, feast in the paint. Troy Murphy was getting whatever he wanted. I mean, these guys just look completely lost on defense. Like, not only is the effort not there most of the time on that end of the floor, but it's simple miscues on coverage coverages, not switching at the right times, missing cutters to the basket. I have never seen a team look so disorganized on defense like we've seen from the Bulls over the past 15 games or so. The offense has been bad as well. Don't get me started on that with how clunky their ball movement and transition play has become, but their defense is just straight embarrassing at this point. And look, here's what gets me. For the life of me, I cannot understand why people continue to defend Billy Donovan. I know we've talked about this a bit before. I even ranted about it in one of my post-game videos during the 7-game stretch. But while we all like to complain about the personnel of this team, the roster construction, how bad the front office has been, which they have been, do not get me wrong, they are by no means absolved of any blame, but at some point, you have to ask yourself, why does this keep happening? Why is it that throughout Billy Donovan's tenure, his teams have consistently played so poorly against very bad teams? How is it that as a coaching staff, you are so ill-prepared for these games? How are you not ensuring your guys are in line with the game plan, the scouting report? How are you not making the right in-game adjustments when you see things aren't working? And look, I know most of you who watch are probably on the same page with this. Like, I know most of you, just based on what you say in the comments, you don't like Billy Donovan, and if anything, have probably been harsher than I have been over the years about Billy Donovan. I've even had people tell me I don't criticize him enough. I'm more so talking about guys in the media. For whatever reason, in their eyes, Billy can do no wrong. Like even Joe Cowley, notoriously known Bulls hater and gets off on the Bulls doing so poorly. Man hates his job so much that he's getting in fights with randos on Twitter. He will criticize AK every chance he gets. But when it comes to Billy's coaching, it's crickets. Again, the roster construction is a problem. Arturas Karnisovas, Mark Eversley, they're part of the problem. They have not built this roster well and have not managed their assets well. But why is no one in the media holding Billy Donovan accountable? Because at some point you have to say, well, this roster isn't great, but they shouldn't be this bad. And how is it that the same said roster that started off the season really strong, playing some of the best teams in the league, even had quality losses against some of the better teams in the league? Why is it that they're suddenly trash? Because they were decent before. What happened? Why haven't you figured out what happened, and why aren't you fixing it? If you're such a good coach, this Hall of Fame coach that everyone praises, even the front office, why haven't you been able to pinpoint why this team has slid so badly from their start, and why are they showing up this poorly against some of the worst teams in the league? Like, I actually like the adjustment Billy Donovan made against the Hornets, where he benched Vucevic and went with Zach Collins. That got the Bulls back in the game, and they won because of it. But tonight, he brings in Vucevic to close out the game when he's been playing like trash. The Bulls have been better with him off the floor and better with Zach Collins on, and yet you take him out and bring Vooch in, who was ice cold this whole game and was constantly missing assignments on defense. But to make it even more head scratching, he doesn't have Modest and Josh Giddey in the closing lineup. Giddey was the only one who was actually putting forth effort in this game to try and keep this team alive, and then Mas Buzelis, your only bright spot for the future. Like, yeah, I'll put Giddey in that category as well, but Modest is really the only one that has franchise player level potential. You play him 24 minutes and he gets off 5 shots in this game. Yeah, real great for his development. Like, what are we even doing here? I've never been a fan of Billy Donovan favoring his veterans and giving such a short leash to his young guys. Like, yeah, that's fine if you've got a team that is a contender and winning now, but this season was supposed to be about development. And in this game, you were sitting Giddey and Modest in the closing lineup. And we've just seen a lot of weird lineups that Billy is throwing out there. I get it, when you're struggling as a team, things aren't working, you gotta try new things, but it just looks more like he's throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. The man is clearly out of ideas and doesn't know what to do. Anyway, I know I barely talked about this game. The Bulls have lost their way, they lost their identity on offense, they have no clue what they're doing on defense. Billy Donovan has lost the locker room and has no idea how to get it back. That's just where we are right now. What else do you say? Anyway, let me know what you guys thought of this game and what to make of this team, really. Let me know in the comments. As always, be sure to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.